So we left off here and you finished your design. You do have to come back in and fill with color, but we'll come back to that. I just want to go over the next design. Illustrator helps you to move through projects quickly and in an organized way. With our layers open, don't forget we've undocked these. Right now, when you first open up Illustrator, it automatically opens with layer 1. And you're going to put your first design on layer 1. So renaming the layers, you simply double click and you name it design 1 and you press OK. There are two ways to make a new layer. You have the new layer icon, and then you come over here to the right side with the little columns and you click new layer. When you use the columns on the right, you notice that the layer options come up. At this particular time, you can name your layer. You can do design 2 and we press OK. If you use the new layer icon, you don't get the layers option, but you can get to the layer options by simply clicking new layer and then double clicking, and then you have design 3. And I'll go ahead and put another layer and name it design 4. And if you want, for the sake of chronological order, you can always move layers. Design 1 can come to the top, but when you're moving layers, you want to make sure you pay attention to the icon that's right here underneath this fist. If you notice, you have a large dark arrow. That means that if you let go now, this particular layer becomes a sub-layer of the layer that's selected. So at this particular moment, we're not creating sub-layers, but layers. So what you're looking for to happen is when you drag the layer, you'll notice that you have a small arrow. You also have lines that go across. That's when you want to let go to move the layer. So now I have design 1, design 2, design 3, design 4. Let's rename this layer. Make sure only one layer is selected. That's supposed to be layer design 3. Okay, so now we are on design 2. Design 2. Let's start with this one. If you notice, I've moved mine around, and I can show you how to do that later. So now we have this, and so now that we have this, now that we have this, turn my volume down a little bit. It kind of disappeared. Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and make this particular design. Pretty much using the same tools, just in a different manner. And there's different ways you can approach this particular problem. And I use that word lightly because in this class, it's pretty much a problem-solving class, because you need to know how to use the tools and when to use the tools. So with the line segment tool, I can do, let's just start one way. I can decide to just go ahead and divide the panel for the next across. I'm just simply clicking, holding, and dragging across the panel. Now I can start. If you notice, these lines go all the way across from one side to the next. But the next lines are going to start within the little triangles that are existing as part of the design. So I'll start here. Just click, hold, drag. And you notice my my cursor, I have that horizontal line right on the edge of the artboard, and I let go because you want your line segments to stay within the artboard. So right now I'm simply clicking, holding, and dragging. Now another thing you can do is go ahead and divide this in half, so then we can go to transform and reflect, so that we don't have to do this whole area with lines. So I'll take a straight line and go all the way up. And then I'll finish creating these lines. Don't forget we're on Design 2, Artboard 2. If you look over in the Artboards panel here, you see that we're on Artboard 2, Layer 2. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this all the way out. And notice how I am clicking in the same origin right here on that particular point. And then one more. While we're talking about layers, I want to go over some particular things that you need to know. For instance, this little eye here, it's called the toggling or toggle visibility. You can turn things on, you can turn things off. They're still there, you're just turning them off so that you won't see them and they won't be confusing if you're working with a more complex design. So if I press the eye, it goes off, bring it back on. You can also lock the layer so that things on one layer doesn't move while you, well, things don't move, excuse me. Things don't move while you're working with something else. So if you notice, it's locked. That little pencil with a line through it means that it's locked and / or the visibility is turned off. If it's not locked and the visibility is turned off, you still see the pencil. Okay, now that we have this side, the next thing is we're going to transform, copy and transform here. So I don't want to choose this line because it goes all the way through the artboard, all the way across the artboard. And I don't want to choose this line because it's used to divide this particular space and we don't want to put a line on top of a line. So I marquee carefully, making sure I only get the lines that are inside my lines that indicate the area that I will be drawing in. So I marquee just those lines. Notice nothing happened. Can you guess why not? Because the layer is locked. So make sure that I unlock it. Marquee. Go to Object, Transform. We're reflecting. You want to copy. If you notice, it already showed you what the reflected copy is going to look like. We're reflecting vertically, so that's going across from left to right. So I make the copy while it's still selected. Now you want to be careful when things are selected and they're not grouped and you want to move them. You have to make sure that you click on the selection, because if you don't and you click off, it's no longer selected. But right now it's easy to reselect because I don't have anything drawn here. So I'll marquee those back. Click, and I'm holding and I'm dragging. If you notice, I can move up and down. We don't want that. So you hold the Shift key so it can go straight across. And you let go of your mouse and you'll let go of the Shift key. So now I have that done. Next thing I can do the same thing as far as copying and pasting, since I have all of these in here. Do the transform and reflect, but this time I'm going to reflect a different way. So we go to reflect and we're going to do horizontal, going from top to bottom. Notice I don't have the long line that goes through, but just the lines on the inside of the space. Horizontal. Notice it shows you how it's going to look when it's flipped horizontally. I press copy, and now I drag this down. Make sure I hold down my Shift key and put it in place. Let go of the mouse, let go of the Shift key. The next thing I can do is doing another transform, since I still have these lines here. So I'll go to transform, I'll go to, I want rotate this time. I rotate, and you notice at a 90 degree it gives me, it flips to the right. So I'll go ahead and make a copy. making sure that I'm on the line segment. Move it over, and I'll put it in place. All right, and I'm just gonna nudge it in just a little bit. Up. There we go. I think that's good. I don't want to deselect just yet because I still want those lines so that I can do a vertical flip from left to right. So go to Object, Transform, Reflect, Vertical, Copy, and then slide these over, holding my Shift key, and then I let go. And you have that design 2, Artboard 2.